Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world watching this Zoom call. Glad you could are able to join me. I want to know one question. Do you need extra income? We all know inflation is extremely high right now, especially in the US. We all know that for a single person, it took a full-time and a part-time job just to make it every month. And for a family, a husband and wife with children, or either a single parent with children, you basically had to have two full-time jobs. This was pre-pandemic. And of course, it's worse post-pandemic. So what I want to know is, how are you making money? Do you have a job? Do you have two jobs? Do you have three jobs? Do you have a job and a side hustle? What I want to show you, and I'm not against a job, because you have to have a job to earn income, make money, so you can survive. But I don't want you to make your job your be all in all, because while you at working, you don't know what the vice president, president, boards, the owner of the corporation or the business that you work at, what kind of decisions they're making out on the golf course about your life. You don't know at what point in time they out there say, okay, well, the numbers aren't looking good and we need to have cutbacks. And now you get laid off, as they say, and you didn't do anything wrong. Now your income is missing, while their income hadn't been cut, because they're still making their money. But see, you're just a number. You're just a number in a company to those C-level executives. So they could care less. They could care less if you went and jumped off a bridge and died. Okay? So don't let your job be your end all. What I want to show you right now is something that majority of people in the world don't even know about this. And I love what Robert Kiyosaki had to say. This is one of his quotes of, most people never get wealthy simply because they're not trained to recognize opportunities right in front of them. And 97, 98% of the people don't, because you've been raised to go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. Don't worry about making money over here. Don't worry about what's going on with the company. You just be a good little economic slave. They say you're free, but you're not. You're not a free person. You're a slave to your job. Like I said, they could fire you at any time that they want, and there's not one thing you can do about it. And you say you're not, well then do me a favor. I want you to go and don't go to work. Go on vacation, or just don't go to work at all for 2 months, 3 months, and then just come on back to work like nothing happened. And let's see if you have your job. By the way, You said that your job don't control you, don't control every aspect of your life, and you're not a slave. Well then, do you own your dream car? Have you paid for it? Even if you do have it, did you pay for it in one payment? Or are you making monthly payments? So if you're making monthly payments, it's not your car, it's the bank's car or the dealership's car, whoever you finance it through, until you pay it off. Do you have your dream house? Did you buy it all at one time if you do have it? Or do you have a mortgage? That too, if you have a mortgage, it's not your house. It's the bank or the mortgage company's house. And if you don't believe me, miss a few payments and you will see who actually owns the house and the car. So let me show you this video right here by Robert Kiyosaki, explaining how there's certain people in the world that want to keep you poor, because you got to look at it. People like Bill Gates and the late Steve Jobs, the owner of Apple, Mark Zuckerberg. I don't think Mark has any children. He may, I don't know. But Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, and Bill Gates. Do you think they teach their children or have taught their children to be good employees? Or are they teaching their children how to be the business owner and the investor, so they'll never have to work for anybody else? So let me show you this video right here, and then I'm going to show you exactly how you can make generational wealth with your cell phone.
Do the rich people cringe and say, don't tell them that, Rob?
Yes. Don't tell people what you know. Right. Keep them poor. My father was the head of education, PhD, all that stuff. I go home and ask him, I said, why don't we learn about money in school? And he looked at me and says, because the government doesn't let us teach that subject. The government tells us what we can teach and what we can't teach. And I thought that was strange. And I said, but aren't we going to school to learn about money? He says, no, your job is to get a job. I said, but you get a job to earn money. He goes, no, you're supposed to just get a job. I went, no. Isn't the purpose of a job to earn money? He goes, you're correct. I said, so why don't I just learn about money? I can skip the job part, And he got flustered and he said, if you want to learn about money, why don't you ask your best friend's father about money? I said, why? That's Mike. So I asked him. He says, because Mike's father is an entrepreneur. And I said, what are you? He says, I'm an employee. I'm a government employee. I went, oh, what's the difference? He says, the difference is an entrepreneur must know about money, or they're no longer entrepreneurs. And he says an employee doesn't have to know anything about money, because the government will take care of them, the company will take care of them. So I'm all confused. But I took my dad's advice and I trundled over to Mike's father's office and knocked on his door and I said, hey, I'm here, 9 years old. Teach me about money. He says, beat it, kid, But that's where the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad started. And finally, through persistence, my rich dad started teaching me about money on one condition. And that condition was he would never pay me. He says, the moment I pay you, you think like an employee. He says, that's the trap. Entrepreneurs work for free. And now I'm 9 years old, my head's going cracking in half. He says, you never want a paycheck. You understand that, kid? I said, okay, I got it. And he says, well, how do I make money? He says, that's what entrepreneurs figure out. It's like, so how do I learn about money? So he would just break out a Monopoly game board. So I would work for free. I'd pick up cigarette butts and get hotels and restaurants, and I would clean and do menial tasks. And as I got older, I started getting into office work and marketing and accounting. And I was an apprentice, basically. but I always worked for free. And he would teach me about money. But the way he taught me about money was playing Monopoly. And finally one day I got upset. I said, well, when are you going to teach me about money? He says, what do you think we're doing? We're playing Monopoly. He goes, no. What do you think we're doing? We're playing Monopoly. He says, what do you think we're doing? So I don't know. I'm teaching you about money. And then that's why, you have one green house. He says, there's many formulas for great success in money. There's thousands of them, but one of the best ones found on the game of Monopoly. It still is today. 4 green houses, 1 red hotel. I said, what? He says, one of the greatest ways to acquire great wealth is playing Monopoly in real life. 4 green houses, 1 red hotel. Is that all there is? He goes, that's it. And he says, what do you think I'm doing? And I went, I don't know. So then he took me out, he showed me his greenhouses. And 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel.
Just like the game of Monopoly.
Just like the game of Monopoly.
Acquired assets and they became bigger assets.
He just kept what's called an assemblage, because that property wasn't that big at the time. So he had to buy out all the small guys. Because Waikiki was a little dirtwater little town. So he'd buy out this shop owner and buy that shop owner. And it took him a while, but he finally assembled this large piece of property. And then he and Hyatt put up this giant hotel. It just sold for $800 million. So that's how I learned about money. I've had financial crashes. I've had people stab me in the back, but they're all good because I grow from it. That's spirituality. People who are afraid of making mistakes, like they teach in school, they don't ever grow. Because spirituality is there's good and there's bad, there's right and there's wrong, there's up and there's down. Most people only want to be right, they only want to be positive. Well, you can't have that. That's not reality. Well, I wasn't poor by most people's standards, but I came from a family with a poor attitude, if you know what I mean. Because rich, poor, middle class, poverty starts with a fundamental attitude. Poverty is passed on. It's taught in your families. And middle class is taught in families. And so the people right now who are sitting at home, who are struggling financially or worried about money or unhappy, they may be making a lot of money, but unhappy with what they're doing, it was probably taught to you. Your super ego was taught, get a job, work hard, or you'll never be rich, or the rich are evil, or whatever. The school system will never teach you about money. The school system was designed to teach you to be an employee, which is important, or a doctor or a lawyer, a specialist, but never about money. And what most people lack is real business knowledge, like accounting, like debt, like taxes. You got to know that stuff, but they don't teach it in school to anybody. So, and then when people ask me, how did your rich dad learn this when your poor dad, a PhD, didn't? And the answer is very simply, my rich dad, who's my best friend's father, his father died when he was 13. So rich dad had this family business at 13 to run. So he had to drop out of school, which was his blessing. There's blessings, and sometimes the blessing doesn't look like a blessing, but it turned out to be a blessing. And then his teachers became his bookkeeper, his accountant, his attorney, his banker, his real estate agents. So he has what I call real teachers, not these fake teachers in school. You see, most teachers in school, they're out of ethics. They teach subjects they themselves don't practice. I asked the teacher, I said, I'm in my 3rd year of calculus now. It was called strength of materials. I said, am I ever going to use this stuff? He goes, no. I said, why do you teach it? He says, because I get paid. said, do you ever use it? He goes, no. And that's why, you have to, in life, one of the things I suggest to people, you got to find a real teacher versus a fake teacher. And a fake teacher is somebody who doesn't do what they teach. And a real teacher is doing what they teach every day. So my accountants, my attorneys, they're in it every single day. That's how I learn, because every day I'm solving problems in my business. So I have accountants and attorneys and bankers and all these people on speed dial because I'm solving problems with my team.
I see you giving this knowledge out, and
Yeah.
do the rich people cringe and say, "Don't tell them that, Rob"?
Yes. Don't tell people what you know. Keep them poor. But unfortunately, the poor, as was in the Bible, I'm not real religious, the poor will always be amongst us because it starts up here.
Right. It's that fear mentality.
It's in their words, and the words become flesh. Again, I'm not really religious. I flunked out of Sunday school also. But when they say I can't afford it or I can't do that, they go down. They become what they say. My PhD dad, he says, what do you think I am, made of money? I can't afford that. And my rich dad would say, that's why he's poor. Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. Because it's an escape. It's an escape. You know what I mean? It's easy to say, I can't afford it.
And your rich dad used to say what instead of "I can't afford it"?
How can I afford it? How can I do that? What would it take? Or why should I do that? He says that a question opens the mind, a statement closes the mind. See, when you say, I can't afford it, your mind shuts down and you become what you say. Rugby is a team sport, but so is soccer. The rules are different. And other people are golfers. They play by themselves. And so everybody's different. So my game financially is business, number one. Second is real estate. So what I say to young people is, you find your game.
Now that you've seen that the 3%ers or majority of them want to keep you poor, now the next two videos I'm going to show you how to become wealthy with just your cell phone.
How would you like to have an automatic additional income? Automatic because you don't have to change anything about your day-to-day lifestyle in order to receive an additional income. An income that could easily reach into the high five figures. Take a moment to understand the Instant Recall app and how it can easily change your financial picture. Did you know your location data is valuable? That's right, where you go, your phone goes. And when advertisers see where all the phones are, they can better decide how and where to advertise. Did you know right now there are over 50 companies already selling your location to advertisers? That's right. As you and thousands of other people are driving around every day, multiple apps on your phone have been given permission by you to track your location. They do it anonymously, of course. They don't give out your personal information, but they are selling the location of you and the thousands of people all around you for hundreds of thousands of dollars to advertisers. Google is a prime example. So here's the question. How much are they paying you for your location data? And here's a better question. How would you like to get paid for it? Hold that thought for a moment. In the last 3 years, food and fuel prices have risen worldwide. We all need more money to get by. And with over 5.9 billion smartphone users around the world producing valuable anonymous location data, economists are right. Oil is no longer the most valuable resource. Data is. With the Instant Recall app, you can now get paid for your data and for referring others to Instant Recall. Of course, we comply with all international privacy laws, so you are not tracked personally. Your location data is anonymous. We collect $3.99 a month from your phone to publish your data to commercial data platforms. We package your location data and send it to the platforms every 15 seconds or 5,760 times a day. And we compile the data from the phones of everyone you refer. And we pay you monthly. In addition to that, your $3.99 monthly subscription provides 5 meals each month through feedingamerica.org. You are paid $1 per month on each personal referral, all those on your first level. Plus, you're paid $1 per month on the referrals made by those people you refer. This is your second level. If you have made 10 or more personal referrals, you are paid 50 cents per month on the referrals on your third and fourth levels. Simply put, if everyone refers just 10 people, you are making over $5,600 a month in recurring monthly income without changing anything about what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Some people will refer a lot more than 10, so your monthly income can grow exponentially. We send payments to a digital wallet every month so you can withdraw those funds to your account. Download the Instant Recall app. Make sure the referral code you receive is correct before clicking on the green arrow in the bottom right. Next, open the app to the map page. Click on the white box in the upper right. On the next page in the lower right is an automated referral system connected to all of your contacts. Just start clicking on contacts to get your first 10 referrals. The best part is no inventory needed, and there are 5.9 billion customers out there for you to refer. Plus, you can take advantage, on average, of a $1,500 a year tax write-off as a home-based business owner. Feel free to get back with the person that shared this with you and take a moment to ask any questions and how you can get on board with this incredible opportunity. Have a good day, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Now, that's an extremely simple way to earn extra income with your cell phone. Basically, there's nothing to explain to anyone because everyone has a cell phone. Everybody goes place to place. But people might say, well, I don't want them tracking me. I don't want my location turned on. Let me tell you right now, okay? Your location is on 24/7. Even if you go in there and turn the location off, it's on 24/7. Not trying to scare you and be negative or anything, but your cell phone always has to communicate with cell phone towers. If you go and watch the shows like 48 Hours and things like that, you know, when they looking for a missing person, they get the cell phone information, see which tower they were pinging off of. That's in case, you know, someone kidnaps you or someone, you know, unfortunately do kill you. You know, they can kind of put a stamp on where you were last seen. So this video right here was done with a Android phone, but it doesn't matter. Like I say, if it's Android, Apple, Windows, etc., they all have their location option turned on your phone 24/7.
We want to turn now to that GMA investigation. Do you know how much information your cell phone is really collecting about you and your location? Our chief business and technology correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, tried an eye-opening experiment. Rebecca, this could be more than we actually realize.
Yeah, absolutely, Cecilia. Good morning. Nice to see you. And it's so many of us now are carrying a smartphone. It's a top gift this holiday season. And this morning, we're taking a closer look at the vast amounts of information these devices are collecting on us and then sending back to companies like Google.
What if someone or something was tracking your every move? Not just your location on a map, but your mode of transportation, even your elevation. More than half of Americans have Android phones and might be voluntarily agreeing to more than they realize. So, what data is really being collected when you accept Google's terms of service?
These are two new phones. We haven't opened any apps on them. Neither has a SIM card.
We did a demonstration when the weather was warmer to find out. Without connecting either phone to a network or Wi-Fi, we traveled around New York City to see if information was being gathered and how often. From the subway to a bike.
Heading out on a bike ride around 11:15 in the morning.
And finally,
Getting into a car. It's about 12:15 and we're heading into Times Square.
still not connected to any cellular network, I arrived back at ABC and enlist the help of cybersecurity expert Megan Stifel, a former director in the National Security Council at the White House, to see what type of information our phones are collecting, which might be sent back to Google.
We just connected it to our test station.
Connecting our phones to Wi-Fi for the first time, a startling discovery.
This phone doesn't have a SIM card. It wasn't connected to the internet, but it still was collecting all of that information.
Yes, and using all the sensors on the phone to obtain as much information as it can, even though it can't send it anywhere at that time.
And as soon as I connected to the network, it was transmitted back to Google.
Yes.
The Android's operating system tracking my unique device's movement, even identifying the mode of transportation, and at times taking 10 sensor readings per minute.
So at 10:25, it assesses that you were in a rail vehicle. So
On the train.
On the train.
It even knew when the phone was tilting underground.
At 11:16 a.m., what does it say?
On bicycle.
It says I was on a bicycle.
Yes.
Which is what I was doing at 11:16 a.m.
And then you got off and maybe you were walking around a little bit later. So at 12:05 today, what were you doing?
I was in a car.
It says in-road vehicle, in vehicle.
So it knows I was in a car heading uptown to the office.
Right.
When you agree to Google's terms of service, you're agreeing to some types of data sharing. But Stifel says users might not realize how extensive it is.
This is not something that the user necessarily opted into, or if they did opt into it, it was in a fashion that wasn't consistent with their expectations.
Google tells us that in order to provide basic services like security notifications and app updates, smartphones need to communicate with their operating system providers and cellular carriers on a regular basis. Google adds that users can view, manage, or delete the information associated with their Google accounts at any time.
Wow, so seeing you on that bike and them tracking you on that, that's really, really
Mhm.
something. So how valuable is this information to Google?
Cecilia, this is extremely valuable information. And if you think about it, Google's business model, they make the most of their revenue off of advertising sales. And advertising, when they can pinpoint exactly where you are and what you're doing, they can actually direct an ad to you. So imagine you're in a mall, but you're on the second floor of the mall, not the first floor. They can send a push alert to your phone suggesting a store on that second floor instead of the first one because they know you're there.
Wow, really good information. All right, thanks, Rebecca.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Now, I'm going to show you one more video. I'm going to show you the huge tax advantages that you get from owning a home-based business.
Hi, this is J.W. Warr with American Note Warehouse. I want to go over the tax advantages of owning a home-based business. I'm going to do it in black and white, so it's going to be really simple. Meet George and Jane. These two people have a lot of things in common. Each of them earns $3,000 a month, and each has a $150,000 mortgage at 6% on their house. The key difference between the two is Jane set up a home-based business. She went to a meeting one night and saw the possibilities of owning her own business and making extra income. So Jane joined a home-based business. Now, George was at the same meeting, but George just didn't get it. And so what George did, he didn't even see the advantages to owning a home-based business in his taxes. So he just kept doing what he's been doing, and he just keeps overpaying his income taxes every single month. Now, let's compare how much money they both bring home. Both make $3,000 a month. George pays $500 a month in income tax, but because Jane owns her own business and gets to write off all her business expenses, Jane actually doesn't have to pay income tax every month. George lives on $2,500 a month. Jane lives on $3,000 a month. George has been overpaying his taxes $200 every single month. He gets a $2,400 tax refund every year. He really loves getting that money. Him and his family go on vacation. Jane realized that you're lending money to the government and they're not paying you any interest. She also realized that she could use that money to pay off interest-bearing accounts. So she corrected her income tax by putting the right number of withholding allowances down. And so she does not overpay her taxes. Now, that means that George has $2,300 a month to live on, but Jane still has $3,000 a month to live on. Now, their mortgage payments are $900 a month. Available for paying down their mortgage, George has nothing extra, but Jane now has $700 a month extra because she's not overpaying her taxes and she's not paying any income tax because she has tax deductions. Jane took that $700 and paid off her mortgage. Both of them would be living on exactly the same amount of money every single month. So after 5 years, George still owes $140,000 on his home. Jane only owes $91,000 on hers, simply because she started a home-based business. Now, I'm not even counting the income she makes off her home-based business, just the tax advantage. 10 years and 7 months into this comparison, George still owes $124,000 on his house. Jane's home is now paid off. She's paid hers off completely using the tax advantages to a home-based business. Jane invests that $1,600 a month that she was paying on her house payment at 9% in her retirement account. Coming from what she was paying on her mortgage and the money she was overpaying on her taxes, she takes the whole $1,600 a month and invested at 9% in her retirement account. So 20 years after we started checking on him, George still owes $81,000 on his mortgage. Jane now has $318,000 in her retirement program and a paid-for house. 30 years, George's house is finally paid off, but he has zero in his retirement account. George paid $174,000 in interest alone on that house. Jane not only has her house paid off early, she now has $1.3 million in her retirement program simply because she started a home-based business. Jane only paid $53,000 in interest. Home-based businesses. A home-based business has got to be the answer. Which would you prefer? Sign up for a home-based business today.
Now, let me show you a couple of examples of how you can earn income with instant recall. If you refer 10, then your second level refers 10, third level refers 10, and fourth level refers 10. That's how you get to $5,610 a month. But if everyone goes a little bit further and refers 20 each, that's $84,000 for you. And I'm gonna leave a link in the description box for the income calculator. You can play around with it, but like it says now, to get paid on your third and fourth level, you have to personally sponsor at least 10. Okay, just remember that. Okay, and then down here at the very bottom is where you download the app so you can start referring people to the company, to the app, and you start making generational wealth. If you have any questions, just email me. I see my telephone number is not down here. By the time you go to it, I'll have it down there. Just text me. That's the best way to get in touch with me in the very beginning, because I am meeting with a lot of people, and this is not the only business that I am building. So the best way to get in touch with me is to email me or to text me. Okay? So until we speak, everyone have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for being able to take some time out and join us on this call.